Broncos beat the Colts 31-13, and with that, they have secured their first winning season since 2016. They have a 90% chance to make the playoffs, which we'll look at the updated playoff picture in just a second. But what a win for Denver. All second half, all Broncos. Denver, 24 unanswered points in the second half after trailing 10-0 out of the gates. And they respond with one thing they have known all year long, defense. Nick Bonitto, incredible pick six. Pat Surtain, interception. We'll talk about the injury stuff in a little bit, but first, I just want to run through this game while it's fresh in my mind and everything we saw from it. In the first half, to me, the story of the game was Denver's inability to run the football, which is still a problem for this team, and how the Colts were running all over the Broncos. What changed in the second half? They still couldn't run it, but they slowed down the Colts' run game. That parlayed with a Jonathan Taylor gift of a touchback, which completely turned this game around. If Taylor just runs into the end zone, which, by the way, I'm still not really convinced it was a touchback, but whatever, we'll take it. It's 20-7 in the third quarter, and Indianapolis might be looking at a wild card spot. Instead, their season is likely done. Now, Bo Nix did not have his best stuff today. 130 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. He started off with 3 straight interceptions, or one touchdown, got up to 3 picks at one point. Whatever the order was, it was not a good day from Nix. He made some nice plays towards the end of the game, and that was great, especially when we were looking to put this one away and put the nail in the coffin. But overall, it was probably the worst game from Bo Nix. Maybe the Steelers game or the Seahawks game was slightly worse, but all in all, Nix did not have his best stuff, and this team still found a way to win. And right now, I'm not going to be greedy. I'm not going to start being needy and going, yeah, but they didn't win good enough. Come on, guys. This was a team that had not made the playoffs for 8 straight years. They just secured their first winning season since the start of the first Trump administration. And now they are 90% chance to make the playoffs. Yeah, I don't care how they got it done. I don't care how much offense, defense, or special teams contributed. If it wasn't an even split, a win's a win. And kudos and credit and everything to this Broncos team for rallying around themselves after falling into a trap and falling into a hole early on in this game. Let's look at the playoff picture really quickly because I know that's what everyone wants to see. Where things stand currently for the Broncos after improving to 9-5. They currently hold the number 6 seed. We'll look at the AFC playoff picture here. So they currently hold the number 6 seed in the AFC, 1 game ahead of the Chargers, which means that Thursday night matchup in 4 days is going to be ginormous. If Denver wins, they officially nix the tiebreaker with the Chargers. The Chargers would not have head-to-head. They would also be 2 games up with 2 games remaining. And I don't know off the top of my head, but I don't know even if the Broncos lost the last 2 games and the Chargers won out to even up at 9 or no, I guess if they lost one more, then I ignore what I just said the last 20 seconds. No, if the Broncos win, they'd be 2 games over the Chargers. They'd be 10-5. And even if they lost the last 2 games and fell to 10-7, and the Chargers won the last 2 games to finish 10-7, I'm not sure if the Chargers would jump ahead of the Broncos in the wild card standings. I got to figure that one out. But now I'm starting to get a little bit greedy here and think, man, forget 6 seed, 3 seed matchup. How about surpassing the Ravens, more maybe the Steelers, and jumping all the way to the 5 seed and getting to play the fraudulent Houston Texans? This is a Broncos team that found a way to win when for so many years they didn't have that ability. Did they play their best football today? Honestly, not really. And if their B game is 31-13, I'll take that. Wait till you see their A game. It's the NFL. You only get 17 opportunities to showcase your best stuff. You're not always going to be on your A game. But if your B game gets you a 31-13 win, imagine when this team starts really clicking like they were before the bye and get back into their rhythm. For the Broncos, they got to figure out the ground game because that is the biggest weakness for this team, and it's been something I have been preaching on for weeks, that I am terrified of a postseason game where Denver has a lead and they can't run the football to kill the clock, and they give the ball back to Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes or any other quarterback like Lamar Jackson, and they drive down the field and get in field goal range or put up a game-winning touchdown. So the run game has to get better if we're going to be critical. But overall, this defense is fantastic. Nick Bonitto should be in consideration for Defensive Player of the Year. No doubt in my mind about it. He's got 10-plus sacks and multiple takeaways, including 2 touchdowns. He's playing some of the best football on that side of the ball. Special teams, Marvin Mims continues to set up this offense in great field position. The offense didn't have it today, and that's fine because this defense and special teams picked up the slack for them. This is a team that's well-rounded. Even if one side of the football is not bringing it, the other 2 sides are. And that's what makes Denver, in my opinion, a legitimate and serious contender to make some noise in the postseason. Other teams are going to be so reliant on one side of the ball, their biggest strength. For Denver, they've shown that they can put up points in the offensive side, no problem. And they know their defense can play with the best of them. So even when the offense isn't there, the defense is still going to keep this offense in it. Before we get on to the rest of my rant and just reaction to this win for the Broncos, I do want to give a big special shout out to our sponsor today, GameTime. GameTime has so many awesome features like GameTime Picks, which filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. One thing I love about GameTime is they offer the GameTime guarantee. If you find tickets in the same section and row for less, GameTime will credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with GameTime. Download the GameTime app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download GameTime today. What time is it? Game time. So the Colts offense was going into an absolute buzzsaw. That is the Broncos defense. A couple of the injuries that you guys all want updates on. I'm looking for one on from Sean Payton on Pat Surtain. Don't have one at the moment, but yeah, I'm just scrolling right now through Twitter. I didn't think we'd get that concrete of an update so quickly after the game, but Denver plays on a short week. They go to LA to play the Chargers on Thursday Night Football. If you missed it completely, after the interception for PS2, his 4th of the season, he got up, ready to return it, and he was quickly just clotheslined by an offense player. And kind of banged up his ankle on the play, and then later on in the game, he left with an ankle injury. He went to the locker room. It was a blowout. We didn't need to see him anymore, but definitely some concern because it's Pat Surtain. And on top of that, you're already shorthanded with Riley Moss dealing with a knee injury still. He missed his 3rd straight game with that knee, or 3rd straight week with that knee injury. So some concern level in the cornerback room. Also, DJ Jones left with a finger. Kind of looked like he might have broken the finger just based on the reaction on TV. I can't say for certain, but those positions, not catching the football, so hopefully put a splint on it, and he could be ready to roll maybe in a week for the Bengals game on Saturday with some extra rest if he were to miss Week 16 against the Chargers. But overall, those are the big injury updates and news I have at the moment. Offense wasn't good. Defense played outstanding in the second half after a slow start in the first half when the Colts just jumped all over the Broncos 10-0. And in that moment, I was like, here it comes, right? Broncos still can't quite seem to get over the hump. And I don't want to say another playoff drought is on its way, but it doesn't look like it's going to be any better if they can't take care of the Colts at home before going to play the Chargers, the Bengals, and the Chiefs to close out the year. And this locker room responded in the second half. It was all Denver in half number 2. And thank you, Jonathan Taylor, for securing the Broncos playoff spot more or less. This win puts Denver at a 90% chance to make the postseason. Even if they were to lose out, God forbid, at 9-8, they're still very much in the playoff mix right there. But they also have the head-to-head tiebreaker over the Colts, so you don't have to worry about Indianapolis catching up because even if the Colts finish 9-8, tiebreaker to Denver. So it would really come down to whether or not like Miami or Cincinnati could win out as well and then make things a little bit interesting. But one last look at the playoff picture. Win for the Broncos on Thursday night. They improved to 10-5, and for 3 days they would be the 5 seed, awaiting to see what happens to the Ravens, who have a really tough schedule coming up, including 3 games in 11 days as they play on Saturday, Christmas Day, and then again, I think the next Sunday or Monday or something like that. It's a crazy schedule for the teams that play on Christmas. But 31-13, awesome second half, great home win for a crowd that's been waiting for this type of magnitude of a game where so much is on the line for them to make the playoffs. 90% chance with the win, 50% chance with the loss, 13-7 at halftime, and it was all Denver in the second half. So if you want more wins like this, keep the good times rolling. Click that subscribe button down below. Sub for dubs.